Hey Posh Hearts, I am super excited to talk to you guys today about the topic that I have on hand. And this is something that comes up quite often and is something that um, sometimes I kind of think that people kind of forget about it. And you're so focused on reaching your goals and you're so focused on um, the end game, I guess, and the quick immediate returns that you sometimes forget the whole point. Okay, so hey Carissa, thanks for jumping on. So really, this is kind of my, I guess, quick way or this is my way to say that try to refocus yourself. So if you guys are feeling, hey Charlie, thanks for joining. Sorry, I feel like whenever I see the comments, they're super delayed, so I never know. I'm like, oh. Okay, so we're talking about being a SHARESperson, not a salesperson today, right? Which many of you guys have heard before is that we're shares people or shares women versus the saleswoman or salesperson, right? And really the whole focus of that and something that you need to keep in mind is that this is really important and really kind of the backbone to our business. We are a social selling business, which means that being social and building relationships is part of the job. If you are an introvert and you kind of don't, you're not super comfortable with getting out there and talking to people and putting yourself out there, you need to find a way for you to do that. Find a way that where you feel comfortable, kind of reaching out there. And it doesn't have to be to like a mass market. It's just, hey, you have a few friends, let's hang, build that relationship with them. But this is something that I feel like people forget often because they're so focused on the here and the now that they don't think about the whole point, and they kind of, you get so focused and you get so dragged down by your numbers and your goals and end of month that you kind of forget like that building a relationship and sharing is really the backbone. Okay, it is really the foundation of our business. Okay, and this type of business, the social selling business, direct sales, it's very important to keep in mind that no now doesn't mean no forever. And it might be really difficult for a lot of you, especially when you hear no or you're not hearing anything back and you feel like you're doing all the right things, but you're not getting anywhere. And something that I really want to remind you guys is that even though you might not be seeing immediate sales and immediate uh, responses to everything. Hey Tiffany, thanks for joining. So even if you're not seeing Doris, hey, there's a ton of you guys jumping on. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. Okay, so even though, okay, so sorry, I'm getting like totally tongue-tied. I love seeing all you guys comment. If you guys have anything to add or any questions or anything like that, please feel free to comment because I love to see the back and forth and just hearing everybody kind of share their thoughts and opinions, okay? So my thing is that no now doesn't mean no forever. And even when you're feeling like you're doing all the right things and there's nothing coming back at you or no immediate um, no immediate, oh my gosh, result, right? That doesn't mean that you guys are failing. It doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. Um, hey guys, so many of you guys are jumping on. Thank you guys seriously, it's amazing. Okay, sorry, I'm like losing my train of thought, but so many times I talk to people and they're like, well, what do I do? I'm doing all these things and I like no one's buying, no one's commenting, no one's talking to me, no one's responding, and it's very difficult. And I understand that you feel like it might be like rejection if nobody's responding or if people just don't seem interested. They're not rejecting you. So keep that in mind. They're not saying, no, I don't like this person, I'm not talking to them. They are they're wary. This is usually for most people the first time they've ever seen Posh, and they're not entirely sure what it is. They're not quite trusting of the product yet. And keep in mind that's not a personal thing, okay? And you're right. Wallflowers always pay attention. And the thing with with uh with the introverts and stuff like that is I feel like introverts kind of draw other introverts in. You know what I mean? And I'm an introvert. I know many of you guys are introverts. And that it's difficult sometimes. Sometimes you don't want to talk to somebody or reach out, but every once in a while you really need to step outside of your comfort zone and build those relationships. And when I mean that is I don't mean like be salesy all the time and continue and talk posh and posh with people. I mean, hey, instead of just scrolling and liking random posts, how about you stop for a second and be like, hey, that is really cool. Leave a comment, build that relationship, and talk with that person. They did some activity that you're super interested in. Instead of just going, well, that's cool, and like keeping to yourself, maybe step a little bit outside your comfort zone and comment. Be like, that's awesome. I've been thinking about it. Do you recommend it? What do you think? And really, it seems like if you're an extrovert and you do this already, you might think like this is what you're doing anyway. But if you're an introvert and you're like me at all, it takes effort for me to comment and leave a comment on something rather than leaving a like. It takes effort for me to leave a love instead of a like, etc. Right? But these little things are your first steps to building relationships and becoming more of a SHARESperson. It becomes more, I guess, practiced, more natural, and you actually, you start forming more of a better relationship with these people that you're friends with. If you see someone at the store, you like their bag, reach out, let them know that you think their bag is the coolest thing ever, and you never know, that conversation might take you somewhere, right? Maybe you guys end up being from the same area, you have kids the same age or something like that. You never know, right? But taking that first step to build that relationship is really important. Strengthen the relationships that you currently have. Maybe you've fallen out of touch with some of your Facebook friends. Reach out, see how things are going, maybe meet up for lunch or something. This might be like, seem very simple and seem very like, what does this have to do with my business? But this is a very important part of your business. Having these relationships and having these people as part of your support group is really important because they are going to trust your opinion a bit more because they know that you're not out just to get a sale, right? And you're going to be in touch with them more. So it's kind of like they're going to have you in the forefront of their mind kind of thing, right? So no now doesn't mean no forever. Well, maybe down the road, maybe they're like, hey, there's this Posh thing that I saw. I know this person. This person's my Posh girl. I know her. I know she's been doing it. She's been posting about it, and I've been talking to her. So maybe I'll reach out and talk to her, So I just can't stress enough how important it is to build upon the relationships you already have. If you don't have much of a base to work on, join some groups in your area. Join some Facebook groups and kind of start. Like, it's like grade school and you're going to school, it's the first day of school and you have to make friends. Well, you'd like to make friends and you just don't really know how to do it. It's kind of like that. If you have a very small social circle, you just have, like, think of ways that you can expand that social circle or strengthen the circle that you already have, okay? So keep that in mind. And when I say this, I mean, don't just talk to them about Posh. Don't just tell them, hey, I have this sale. Hey, I need your help. Hey, I don't just come to them when you need something because that's not a relationship, right? That's not a two-way thing. That's a one-way relationship, and that's usually not the best kind of relationships out there, right? But when you have that foundation to build on, being a SHARESperson is going to come across a lot more natural and a lot easier, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, when we say SHARESperson, which many of you guys know, is that with Posh, really you just share what you love. You share the fact that you're obsessed with the Snarky bar, or that Cackle Spackle is the best thing ever and that you stockpile it, or that the gender bender is used on every single spot of your house and body, right? That is something that you're passionate about, and when you take that passion and you share with other people how awesome this product is, in a very personal, non-generic kind of way, it resonates with people. It people remember it, and especially if you are sharing with, like, if you're not the only one talking and you have a friend that is also praising the BFF, then people are going to start to take notice. So, like I said, when you have these relationships and people are feeling comfortable enough to try Posh and to listen to what you have to say about it, they're going to feel more comfortable talking about it, sharing it, you know. For example, so this is an example. How many of you guys remember when Netflix was just starting? And how maybe someone was talking about it and you're like, I don't know. I really just like remember DVDs. Like DVDs, like to my door, I don't really know if that's a good idea. Or if you guys are newer to Netflix, you're like, streaming, I just don't know. I really like just having cable and DVR, and I just don't know how much I would use streaming. And you might have heard about it again and again. And it could have been even years down the road. Maybe you heard about Netflix when it was in the DVD phase, right? But then you heard about it again because you're like, oh my gosh, I can stream my favorite show on there. I can binge watch that. That's amazing, you know? And, okay, so when you have, like, there's examples everywhere. I don't know why I picked Netflix, but there's examples everywhere. So you're like, okay, well, I kind of heard about it. Didn't know how I felt about it. Well, there's that thing again. Oh, someone's talking about it again. It's that thing that the other person was talking about, and you kind of hear it about it multiple times, right? And then eventually, now you're on Netflix, you have an account, you're obsessed, you binge watch, you're watching Netflix's original shows, you know? And now Netflix is something that you maybe cannot live without because you can binge watch every single thing you could ever want on there, right? Now, that's an example of how seeing and having a touch is kind of what we call it, touching the touch with the brand every, like, so often, somehow you were able to build that trust and that interest in that, whatever it was, right, in that product, in Netflix. And yeah, Tiffany, yes. Netflix, it's just one of those, there are so many different examples, but you can probably think of so many examples of yourself of times where you're like, I don't know, I don't think I'll ever do that, I don't think I'll ever do that, but then you hear about it and you're like, well, this person's talking about it and this person's talking about it, and you're like, well, that kind of actually sounds cool now, and then eventually you're like, well, shoot, now I'm like one of them, right? But that time, those many times that you touched it was actually it was building that relationship with that brand, and building your, like, kind of trust for that brand, to eventually to the point where you recognized it, you were, you know, interested, you trusted it, you wanted to try it, etc., etc. Now you're referring to everybody, right? So that is kind of where you want Posh to be. And this is how you want to look at your business, in terms of the no's or the people who are not quite sure about it yet. If you're, especially with people who've never seen Posh before, most people are not going to purchase or make a big order or anything like that, or they might not even want to try it when you offer samples, because this might be the very first time they have ever heard about it, and they're wary. It's this thing they've never heard of before, and they're not going to feel, there's no trust yet, there's no relationship there with that brand yet, with Posh, or, you know, or with your business yet. They don't really know what to think of it yet, and so they have to see that touch every so, you know, multiple times, and sometimes it's a lot. I've seen lots of different studies out there where, like, you have to touch something like 7 times before you have that, like, recognition, even just recognition. Or I think I've seen it before where it's like 12 times. It's actually quite a bit. So if you guys are a parent and you have ever remember feeding your little one baby food, and you may have read this before, but you have like babies have to try food like I don't know, I was looking at ridiculous like 15 times before they are used to it or they like it. So you can't just give them one time and be like, well, green beans are out the door, because you have to keep trying it for them to get used to it. So this is another random metaphor example that I have for you, but that's kind of where Posh is. That's where Posh is for a lot of your customers and friends and family, is that they don't know what it is yet. This might be the very first time they've ever heard about it. And just because they are not reaching out to you or they're not responding or they're not purchasing doesn't mean they don't see it. And it doesn't mean that what you're doing doesn't it is unimportant. It doesn't mean that what you're doing is not working. It just takes time, it takes consistency, and and for some people it takes a while. And it really helps when you have, well, that relationship, obviously, that foundation where they do trust you. They know that you're sharing something that you are absolutely obsessed with versus wanting to get a quick sale, right? And it also helps when you have other people within your social circle or within their social circle or whatever also talking about it. So if they heard about it from Aunt whatever and how amazing it is, and then someone from high school is talking about it, and someone mentions it on Facebook, or they see a BuzzFeed article or something like that, these are all different touches with the brand, right? And you being consistent in working your business and sharing how much you love it, and the fact that they know that you and Posh, like you have a Posh business, somewhere in the back of their mind, they're going to know that. If you have connected with them and you have done what you should be doing, where you've shared with them or you've offered to share with them, you've talked to them, you've built a relationship, maybe they're in your VIP group, which I do recommend. If you do talk to anybody about Posh, like if you sample anything, if they're not ready to purchase now, add them to your VIP group. It's okay. They don't need to purchase now, because that's not the point. The point isn't to get a sale off of every single sample, right? At least not an immediate sale off of every single sample you pass out. It can be very hit or miss, which is very frustrating, and I understand that. And I don't like you guys know that I've been here through it all. So it is really frustrating. I totally understand, but it's that consistency and working your business and people seeing that this is actually something that you're serious about, and that this is a business. This is something that you love that happens to also do well. You know what I mean? And that really actually speaks volumes. The fact that you are consistent. This is something that you are focused on. This is something that you've been doing for more than like a day. For some people, they're in and out of every single thing, and it's very hard for their friends to keep up with what they're into. And so even just having the longevity of this business actually means quite a bit. So consistency, 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 okay? Time and time again. And again, try not to be frustrated. It is very difficult sometimes. It can be very hard, but a lot of us know, and many of us have been there, and we know that it's hard. And really reach out to people. Reach out for support. Reach out to your sponsor, your premier, a team member, anybody that you can talk to, because this is a very different kind of business. And for some people, it's very hard to talk to just anybody about, because they don't fully understand. So keep that in mind, is that we are all here for you. A lot of us have been through all of this, and so we know how hard it can be, and how we all have different tips and tricks to work through it. Okay, so that is kind of my thing there. That's kind of the whole point of this. But yes, so SHARESperson means that you are having a good foundation, a good relationship that you've built, right? And this is a continual process, obviously. And you're sharing what you love, share your why, share what Posh means to you. And sometimes this is a bit of soul searching when you're like, I don't know, I like the products, right? And it could just be like that. It could just be that you're absolutely obsessed with the products, but maybe there's something a little bit more. Is this something that you want to do on the side with your extra time, just because you find it you feel like you're taking care of yourself, or do you like taking care of other people, or do you like the pampering aspect? Do you like the discount aspect? Do you like the sisterhood aspect? And obviously this is all built up, right? You could like all the above, right? But having that why and sharing that why with your customers is going to also let them see that this is important to you. Okay, sharing that with your friends and family and stuff like that, that shows how important this is to you, and it really shines a different light when you are talking about the products. Okay, for example, it's one thing to post a graphic of the healer saying, "Oh my gosh, I love this product. Here's my website. Order." Okay, you probably see that sometimes in your newsfeed, and you're like, scroll, scroll, scroll. Why would I order that? That's weird. Keep going, right? Okay, so take that post and then flip it to a different approach, and now you have a personal picture of the healer, whether it be you using it, a picture of it in your hand, a picture of your kid using it, whatever, just so people can see. It's a personal photo, right? And then you explain how the healer is the only thing that's helped your dry lips, or the only thing that's helped with your kids' dry skin spots, or some, you know what I mean? And there's so many, obviously there's so many different ways to use the healer, so there's a lot of different examples, but maybe, explain the healer is the best thing ever, like and be more specific. Don't just say best thing ever, it's amazing, order now. Okay, because that's not personal. That doesn't give anybody any reason to like look at it twice, more than once. But if you give a reason why, we have tried everything, I swear, everything, but this is the only thing that has worked. Well, you stop. You're like, really? Well, what have you guys tried? Like, really? Like, why has it worked? What are you guys using it on? How much? Like, that's a pretty good size, right? There's giving that personal touch really, really means something. And then something else to keep in mind is that I would totally, totally recommend using or adding your website to your posts very sparingly, okay? Because the second you add your website to a post, even if it's a personal post, it becomes immediately salesy, okay? And it becomes a little bit spammy and more salesperson versus SHARESperson. Especially if people know that you're a Posh person, if they want to buy it, they know how to reach you, or they can find your website, or they've maybe been to your website. But the second you post your website, it becomes an ad, right? And ads are not super fun to deal with. You guys, we see them all the time. We see sponsored posts all the time on Facebook, on Google, lots of places. And how many times are you like, oh, sponsored, I don't know how much I trust this. I just don't, at least I do. I don't know if you guys do that, but I'm just like, well, they've targeted me. Like, I don't know how I feel about this, But yeah, so adding your website to a post immediately turns it a little bit too spammy. So I do recommend using it sparingly. And the only time, I used it a lot more when I was first starting with Posh, because it was brand new. It was something that people were not familiar with. But now that people know that I do Posh. People know that I sell Posh. They know I have a Posh business. I've been here long enough that people know this, right? And if they don't, they know how to be like, hey, where'd you get that? Or they can check out my profile, right? And find where to purchase something. So keep that in mind. Usually the only time I add my website is if it's like a time sensitive or a very sales related product or item on my VIP group. Because even in my VIP group, I'm not posting it every post, because that's ridiculous. They're in my VIP group. They know who I am. They should know how to order, right? Anyway, so there's that. So there's your tips on, so that's my little tidbit for you on building your relationships and sharing. Does anyone have any questions or anything to add? Okay, so it is the end of the month, obviously. It is the end of July. This is the last day if you are trying to hit your goals for the Posh Pay Plan or Pay Plan Plus, or the Summer Stack Up Incentive, or our team incentive. Okay, obviously you're freaking out and you're trying to push numbers and you're just like, I need help, right? And this is where I'm saying that yes, you're going to reach out to these people, you're going to talk to people about Posh, but is this the only time you're reaching out to them? If this is the only time you're talking to people is when you want them to spend a little bit of money on your website, I would reevaluate, especially if they're like, no, or they ignore you, or, because if you're the only time you're reaching out to them is when you need something, then that's not going to work. That's not fun. If you had somebody that was always messaging you because they wanted you to do something, that doesn't feel like a relationship, right? So reevaluate, think about what you're doing. Obviously, reach out to people. You want to follow up with your customers. You want to follow up with your friends and family that have sampled. You want to keep those relationships. Once someone orders, that's not it. Your I guess the life cycle of that customer is not over. That just means you start over again. That just means that you have to follow up. You need to reach out and make sure they got the order okay. You need to reach out in, the 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, right? 2 days, thank you for your order. 2 weeks, how did you like it? Did you get order okay? Do you have any questions? 2 months, hey, I hope things are doing well. Do you need to are you running low? Is there anything I can help you with, etc. Right? So it's once you have a customer, it's not over. You need to continue building that relationship because follow-up is key. Follow-up is where your business is going to really be built on, okay? So building relationships is very, very important. And if you're an introvert and you feel like you're bugging somebody and you're feeling like you're not, I don't know, if you're getting anxiety over messaging somebody, it usually helps, at least for me, is if you have a reason to message them, right? Instead of just cold messaging them. If they order something from you, well, this is a great time to ask them what they thought. Maybe you've never reached out to them and asked them what they thought about it because you should. Maybe they don't know how to use the cackle spackle. Maybe they're like, what do I do with the healer? I haven't even tried it yet. Or, yes, I did get that order, but I'm missing something. Or, you know what I mean? You want to keep up with that customer service and keep up with your customers because it is very important to be a good salesperson, I guess, a good SHARESperson, a good follow-up, and make sure that you're taking care of these people because they are important to you. Their needs matter, right? At the end of the day, your paycheck is great, your commission is awesome, meeting your goals is really awesome and amazing and fulfilling and all that stuff. But the best part of all of this, and I think, is the fact that you get to help people and the fact that you get to spread the pampering love. For me, the pampering aspect is one of my brand messages, I guess, that I send out there, is that not everybody has money or time to spend a day at the spa, but you do have 5 minutes to take care of yourself, and that was something that really resonated with me and something that I realized I was not doing, and that it's hard to be it's hard to take care of all the people around you if you forget to take care of yourself. If you're getting burned out and run down, then how are you going to be able to take care of the other people around you to the best of your ability, right? So that was what was important to me. So then I like to reach out to people, and I like to make sure that people are feeling pampered and getting what they need, and that is really like the thing, like obviously having having this as my job is awesome, and getting paid to do what I like, what I love is awesome. But at the end of the day, I love seeing people build their businesses, take time for themselves, realize they can do hard things, especially for all those team members that never thought they would get very far in this business, or they never thought they'd get to pink, or be here a year later, whatever. It's incredibly fulfilling, and the best part when you see all these people who are realizing how important it is to take care of themselves and how they can do things that they never thought they could do, right? So that brings me back to your why and your message. and something that I really think that you guys should think about is why is Posh important to you, and how are you going to share that with other people? Okay? Because again, sharing, not selling, and build those relationships, okay? All right. Does anyone have any other questions or anything to add? I'll make sure that I did not miss any comments or anything like that. Okay. Alrighty, ready. Okay, cool. I'm gonna end this, and I hope this is a more uplifting one and not a sad one. Sad training for you guys. Hope it helped some of you guys, because I really just want to stress to you guys how sometimes you might not feel like what you're doing is working or even worth it, but it is. And there's more at the end of the rainbow, I guess. Whatever. I guess I like metaphors. I don't know. There's more in the future ahead of you than you might think. Okay? So you're running a marathon, not a sprint. And everything that you're doing is helping you toward that. And if what you're doing is you feel like it isn't working, or is frustrating, or is I don't know, burning you out or something, then maybe you should shift gears and do something a little bit different. Maybe instead of focusing on sending a bunch of samples out, maybe you should focus on following up with the people that you've already sent samples to, or following up with people who've ordered, or, you know, there's a lot of different ways that you can work this business, and sometimes you just need to shift gears and find out what works best for you. So don't give up. Don't feel don't lose hope. It's there. We've all been through it. There's so many ups and downs in this business, and it really takes a lot of consistency and a lot of sharing what you love to make this business work. And everybody's different. So some of you guys are not as focused on the pampering aspect as I am, and that's okay, because if you're more passionate about maybe you're more passionate about the affordability or the cruelty-free aspect or the made in the USA aspect, then focus on that, because you tend to attract the people that are like you, you know. Anyway, okay. Hopefully this helps you guys out. Let me see. Last notes for today is that the transition kit. Today is the last day to order your transition kit. So if you guys have not already ordered it, please be sure to get your orders in. Be sure to check out all the incentives that we have going on, because obviously today is the last day of the month, and I don't want you guys to miss out on any of it. Posh Night is happening on Friday, August 4th. That is where our new catalog with new products is going to be released. If you are not going to be at Uncon, then be sure to check out the Facebook Live that will be on the Perfectly Posh Facebook page. It's going to be a big party. I'm going to be there, so I'm going to leadership, and then I'll be at Uncon. So I'll be a little bit in and out throughout the week, but definitely keep up on the team page, and you know, you can follow me on Instagram if you guys want, because I'll be posting on there as well throughout my trip. So there's going to be a lot going on. So if you guys are feeling a little bit overwhelmed, be sure to look to the team page and to help you guys out. And if you guys are seeing anything that isn't getting posted onto the team page, please help me out and share there. The team page is for all of us. It's not just for me to post over and over again. I love seeing lots of you guys sharing your ideas and sharing how you guys, you know, work your businesses. It's really a team effort, so hopefully you guys are kind of feeling that, okay? All right, for real, getting off now. Have a wonderful night. If you guys have any questions, again, you could, or if you're watching the whatever replay later, feel free to leave a comment. Feel free to reach out to your sponsor, reach out to your premier. We are all here to help you guys. So I will talk to you guys later. Have a wonderful night, and I will, yeah, next time I see you guys, we'll be talking about Posh Night and all the new stuff that came out. So talk to you guys later.